I've always maintained a comfortable, woodsy kind of nostalgia for the origins of this show, an overly energetic dissertation on why 90s movies were smarter than you thought they were. I also realized almost immediately that the depth of those 90s ideas ran out of gas in less than 10 episodes. As a reaction, I took the longest break that this show has ever been on, and then I came back with a better idea of what kind of message I wanted to put out into the world. We are better than we think we are. Pfft, slow down, nerd. I wanted to bring that classic Cool Ranch movies of Mikey Flav back, but with a more discerning yet charmingly whimsical eye. Hell, I think it's worth talking about The Last Kiss Goodnight again. It's like a mini show within that other show, but I also make hot dogs and kick your shoes off. This isn't a church. The title is a rhetorical question. Of course Ronin and every other 90s ass movie I'm gonna do on this sub-series hold up. But mama's gotta eat. I'm giving myself a flimsy excuse to explore them, but also point out some things that we haven't thought about. At least not in a long time. I'm doing the movies that influenced stupid high school Mikey in the 1990s, my teenage years. Yeah, the one with the monkey shirt. I know. And I see you right there typing Fight Club. I'm not doing Fight Club. No, get your finger off that F key. Ronin, a cool word America found in 1998, was directed by John Frankenheimer and written by J.D. Zeik and David Mamet. Yeah, pump the brakes, this is gonna get weird. And if you're unfamiliar with David Mamet, just Google the words Mamet and dialogue and seek as many varied opinions as you can. Well, gosh, that sounds like an afternoon, actually. This was J.D. Zeik's first screenplay, and he didn't write a whole lot after this, I would imagine based on this experience. And he liked the word Ronin because he read Shogun when he was, 15. The movie stars Robert De Niro, which will be important starting now. Anyways, JD had a cool idea, so Mamet was brought on by De Niro to punch up all of his scenes and make him sound really cool.
7 fat years and 7 lean years.
That's what it says in the Bible.
You ever kill anybody?
I hurt somebody's feelings once.
Which he definitely did, but also to give De Niro a love interest because the 90s. In reality, what was happening behind the scenes was far more complicated. There were lawsuits and attorneys involved. He insisted on the pseudonym Richard Weiss when it was clear that he would have to share a writing credit on something he believed Zeik only deserved a story by credit on. Of course Ronin holds up, they cried to my rhetorical question. Also, De Niro hired a huge writer to basically run with someone else's idea, at least that was J.D. Zeik's version of events, in something that got very ugly, and remains not awesome to this day. And you can still love this car movie, a car movie that is distinctly Mamet.
You know, you think so, but nobody ever told me that before.
I'm just saying, the story behind Ronin, a wonderful, beautiful car movie a lot of people really love, is more complicated than you might have realized. Almost like Hollywood is a complicated place. In 1998, the year Resident Evil 2 came out on PlayStation, and Dunkaroos collectively awakened our love for dunking sweet things into even sweeter things. Oh, yeah, hey, but back to what words are we using to describe their actions before we move forward? It's kind of a hard... Like, I would say a secret group of mercenaries take money from the IRA to do terrorism, and I would assume you want to soften that. What's the... No? That's it. We're going with that? Why are you like this, the 90s? I just set out to make a show celebrating the films that awakened the spirit of filmmaking within me all those years ago, but already your form begins to wane in the warmth of the sunrise. Allow me. John Frankenheimer was a man born in 1930 who directed The Manchurian Candidate, Grand Prix, 7 Days in May, The French Connection 2, and Black Sunday. He directed Ronin when he was 67. He directed Reindeer Games when he was 69. Nice. Also, Reindeer Games was originally going to star Vin Diesel, but he didn't get along with Frankenheimer, so he went off and made his own series of car movies. Yeah, Reindeer Games caused the Fast and Furious to happen, Frankenheimer is a man who saw the world change a lot in his life. He grew up in Queens, he cut his teeth for a long time shooting live television for other people. He made movies his whole life. He loved making them so much, the movie he shot before Ronin was The Island of Dr. Moreau. A historically troubled production, to put it lightly. Frankenheimer took over a few days into production from the previous director. I wish I could spend the next 20 minutes talking about just what happened with Val Kilmer on that set. But I digress. Frankenheimer could shoot a car movie like nobody else. This is all real. Movies like this balloon in scope like you cannot imagine. You have to practice and train and train and train when you don't have access to CGI. The 90s was defined by action movies that are distinctly not this. The characters are clever in actually clever ways.
In a regiment.
What regiment was that?
The 22nd Special Air Service.
What's the color of the boathouse at Hereford? What's the color of the boathouse at Hereford?
I don't like your attitude.
But did you know?
There is no boathouse at Hereford, which De Niro does acknowledge, sure.
So what color is the boathouse at Hereford?
How the should I know?
But Hereford does have a rowing club, and that boathouse is white, red, light blue, and blue. Hashtag solved it, question mark.
You worried about saving your own skin?
Yeah, I am. Covers my body.
I think it's impossible to talk about Ronin, a film about two massive legacies in Hollywood, Mamet and Frankenheimer, without talking about it in context. Ronin is a film about former Cold War spies in the 1990s wandering the land in search of purpose. It's hard not to read that symbolism then onto the people making it. It's obvious that every word to come out of people's mouths in this movie was written by David Mamet, because everyone is impossibly clever and talks like heavily educated thesaurus machine guns.
Meet back at the RV, disband.
I understand. I'm just trying to get a vague notion of the opposition. I mean, we're setting out to close some animosity over here. And
This is a Richard Weiss movie to its bones. This is a John Frankenheimer movie to its bones. What do we become when we age? This was 22 years after Taxi Driver. This was 6 years after Glengarry Glen Ross. This was 36 years after The Manchurian Candidate. This meant something to the people that made it. John Frankenheimer passed on just 4 years after completing this movie. Who do we become? Relics of past wars find ways to fight new ones because that's what they know how to do. The stunts in this movie alone. I think Ronin is fascinating because of how not timeless it is. It is a post-Cold War, IRA, Russia, fear-mongering, figure-skating movie in that oh-so-specific sweet spot that only movies like 1992's The Cutting Edge dared to explore. The 90s was a figure-skating decade, just ask I, Tonya. Every car screams 1990s European practicality as they weave the wrong way through traffic multiple times. They did all of this. CGI may have given us access to utterly ridiculous skyscraper car jumping, but everything you see in Ronin actually happened. Ronin's fantastic, practically unrivaled on a technical level. De Niro always has a clever thing to say.
right now, I'm a man without a paycheck.
The Ronin could have hired themselves to new masters. They could have fought for themselves, but they chose honor. They chose myth.
They chose wrong.
1998, a stone's throw from an entirely new millennium. Or Millennium, if that's your bag. Ronin was a period at the end of an age of Hollywood. The strong, witty dude that knows all the answers and always comes out on top. The 90s closed out that era. The 2000s gave rise to the popularity of the flawed hero, the one without all the answers. It gave us Jason Bourne movies, a strong silent type who literally has no answers. I'm saying Ronin is peak 1998 in every way. You know what other 1998 action movie I still hold a place in my heart for? Enemy of the State, featuring up-and-coming YouTuber Jablinski Games.
It's already done.
Ronin said goodbye to an era, and up-and-coming YouTuber Will Smith said, "Welcome to the new one." Ronin opens in Paris. We meet Sam and the central players of this macabre tale of murder and intrigue. Here's a fun
But did you know?
Skip Saduth, who plays Larry, the amazing getaway driver from our team in the film, is a trained race and stunt car driver in real life. Skip was actually driving in his scenes.
Roger that. I got it.
And then we come to Sean Bean's Spence, a supposed ex-SAS boy who likes to talk a mean game but is entirely full of shit. A character basically invented for Sam to dunk on. I ambushed you with a f***ing coffee. This movie practically exists so that De Niro can destroy Sean Bean for endangering lots of lives and generally being a know-it-all who in fact does not know very much at all. A groupie for violence because he saw too many movies. He's portrayed as lonely and in need of friends. But let's cut to what you're actually wondering. Sean Bean does live through the movie because he is so entirely humiliated before he actually has the chance to endanger himself too badly. But even then, he got pretty close.
What do you use? Weapons-wise?
He gets to be action boy for 10 seconds. He got what he came for, and in a weird way, outside of Sean Bean playing a character that lives through a movie, a group of people are trying to steal a case and we are never told what it is because it doesn't matter. It's an excuse for people to be clever and engage in some mind-asphyxiating driving on screen. Oh, and Jonathan Pryce, Natasha McElhone, Jean Reno, and Stellan Skarsgård are also in this movie as well. This is a film that hums, a perfect little 1998 action movie that has a lot to say about the practicality of filmmaking, a bygone era from titans of the industry, some of whom are no longer with us. Ronin was an accomplishment, a farewell to the classic gritty 70s car spy Cold War movie.
Hey man, listen, all top left.
Thanks. If you want an edge-of-your-seat thriller where you're not sure how anyone accomplished even 4% of the practical shots in this movie, where Robert De Niro plays an action hero who will sit down and think through a situation in order to collaborate with those around him in creating a plan that is safest for all principles involved. And Sam is a great De Niro character, just a whip-smart, sardonic bullshit monster like only the 1990s could have afforded us.
Would be nice to do something.
We are doing something. We're sitting here waiting.
Sam is composed of at least 43% Daria Morgendorffer, and if that isn't a ringing endorsement to watch this film, I'm out of ways to recommend it. Ronin absolutely holds up, but beyond that is a piece of film history that never got its due. You will never see a movie like this again. They used 300 stunt drivers to make this film. No one will ever make a movie like this again. Ronin, warriors of a bygone era.
These are the Cinerama cameras of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, about to attempt one of the most challenging feats in motion picture history. Guiding this multi-million-dollar production, the sensational young director, John Frankenheimer.
Hey everybody, it's me again, back on the credits with all these fine patrons like David McIntyre, Brosphine the City of Startup Glad, Matt Hessinger, Zach Marsh, Ken Burns, but I'm here to talk about 2019. Because we're doing some really cool stuff at Filmjoy in 2019, and I hope you join us along the way. Lots of cool new stuff happening, like Character Select has entered the fray, so now the credits are in fact legally a Character Select. You can actually play Street Fighter 4 against any of these people. Especially Andy Bates. And I don't think anyone but Mikey even reads these. Hi Mikey. Yeah, I did design them to look like film credits. Mostly to draw attention to the fact that nobody reads film credits. Oh well. Hey, if you want to join up Patreon and maybe hang out with us on Discord sometime, or hang out with Sazzle. I have a note about Sazzle right here. It says that Sazzle is a tennis astronaut. It's very interesting. Not half as interesting as Charles Sopchin, a bucket scientist. I would love to pick your brain, Mr. Shopson. Happy 7-month anniversary. That's adorable. I hope that is real. So from me to you, happy 7-month anniversary. And maybe some of these other names are having anniversaries as well. I know Cinemoons is, because he just passed 1 million subs. Good job, my dude. My dream in life, and I've heard that Iris Fox shares this dream. My dream in life is to start up a business that lets you lay in a hammock and eat pickles all day, because this sounds like joy. We would call it pickle hammock. It's perfect. It's good. That might have other connotations. Time Jumper 319, Adam, Billy, Charles, Dan, Fred. Take that. 2 first names. Smith. Been around a while. We gotta freshen it up. Although Benedict the Mad has been in the credits since they joined as a wayward, mysterious ghost Viking, and I'm happy you're here. And I'm having Carlin Kendrick. Hashtag Spider Mikey 2019. Thank you. There's so many credits. They keep getting longer, but I do it because I love all y'all, and I think like real movie credits, it's worth sitting through them because a lot of people put in hard work or money or help, or it's worth respecting them and talking about how cool Trey Warren and Ray Johnson and Patrick Mahoney and Brad Hunziker and Walrus. It's been a while since I've done a Walrus. But I ran out of time, because if Cyclops Boy shows up, we out! Aaron Paquette.